Hey folks, how's it going? I hope you're well and welcome to this video which is all about the custom BR80 which I've made, which was designed, and the instructions are from Holger Matthes. If you don't know who Holger Matthes is, he is the gentleman who wrote this book, which is the Lego Trains book, and if you want to build this particular engine, you can go to his website and download the instructions, which is extremely generous of him. I'll put links down below this video so you can go check out his website. He has some really cool little tips and tricks on his website on how to build Lego trains and Lego engines and different techniques and stuff like that, which brings me on to this train, which or Locomotive, which if you haven't already seen it before, it's a BR Class 08 Shunter, and this is my first MOC engine that I built. Now the drivetrain, or the mechanism to sort of power the wheels from the motor, weren't quite right when I was in the United States in Pennsylvania at Philly Brickfest a couple of years ago. I met up with Glenn Holland and he asked me about how I was sort of powering it and stuff like that. I explained, and he explained to me that the way I had it was sort of like the gears were changing direction all over the place, and he explained that, well, if you do that then you lose power every time you move, you change angles of the drive. So I've modified the drive chain in this. I got inspiration from this engine. It is a slightly different design to this one, but the concept is the same, so the power should be a little better, and I think I may have improved the speed because I've the way I had to do the gearing, it meant that the gearing was a little bit higher than it used to be as well, so that's quite good. And also I've put the IR receiver, and I've also got a battery in here, which is a bit of a hack, but I will explain that later. But first of all, let's have a look at Holger Matthes BR80. It was a really enjoyable build, I've got to say. Most fun build I've done for a while, and it was really fascinating seeing all the little techniques that he uses in order to build an engine. So here is the BR80, which is a Deutsche Reichsbahn BR80, based on an engine that was built in 1927, 1928. They built 39 of them, and it was retired eventually in 1977, so that's like 50 years, so not bad for a steam engine for sure. Reading about this and why Holger Matthes did this engine, he was trying to do an engine where everything fitted, all the power functions and everything fitted in one engine, and it was a small engine as well. So in this engine you have a small power functions motor, you've got the battery box and the IR receiver, as well as 2 sets of power function lights. So that in itself is really impressive, but the detail around the engine is really good, and the way it's all built around the power functions and it all hangs together is just fantastic. And there are lots of very clever little techniques. Like I said, if you want to look at the instructions, then go to his website and you can download them and you can see for yourself. I enjoyed building this immensely. At the moment we've got these connection rods here, which are grey. These in the original model that he built were red, but these 1x10 plates with the tooth, they've got little toothed edges at the ends and everything. Red versions of those at the moment are like about 30 quid each on Bricklink. I could only see 3 on the entirety of Bricklink, and I think the only place you can get them is in the Lego Builders Workshop in a Legoland, so that's the only place available. What I have done instead, I mean the grey's okay, but the pins on the side of the connection rods here stick out rather far, and if I wanted to run it through my station, through the Dunkton station, then I would have to change the station to make it run, because they just catch sometimes. So I managed to get some 3D printed parts, which are connection rods, to replace the ones that I'm running at the moment, and it means it's just a it slims down the size of the engine just by a little bit. So also needed to get these Technic pins, which are 1.5 studs wide, I suppose, and that helps with the size of the engine. Also, I've got on order from Bricklink, they haven't quite arrived yet, but I've got these Technic connectors here. These ones are grey. They will be being replaced with red ones, which completes the look as well. Also, if I want to go back to the old look, I also ordered some various different colours of the 1x10 plates, sort of in yellow and green, and I've also got the matching 1x9 Technic lift arms as well, just in case I want to make it a little bit more colourful, but I think I'll stick with the 3D printed parts for now because they look pretty good. And here is the engine with the 3D printed parts, the connection rods, and I think it looks really, really good. Once these connectors here, the Technic ones, are replaced with the red ones, then I think it's going to complete the look and look fantastic. But just to go through the engine itself rather quickly, we have the lights at the front here. If I grab this, basically the battery box is sitting just under here, so I'll turn that on. If you look, we've got lights at the front there, but we also have lights at the back as well, which is really, really cool. And you can see that the receiver is just at the back here. So that sits just here, and then you've got a cover that connects via some Technic pins. So the lights run both ways, all the cables are in here, and then battery box is under there, and then the motor is, if I remember correctly, it's somewhere, can't be there because that's where the battery is, so the motor sits around about here. This is where it's really clever. So yeah, the motor is just sitting in this part of the engine here. So it's a very, very, very tight squeeze to get all the power functions in this, but it's really incredible how Holger designed it and how it's all built and all together. These wheels, if anyone's asking and wondering, these are from Big Ben Bricks, and these are the same size as the black ones that I've got in the BR Class 08, so that was good. At some point I'm probably going to have to put O-rings on them, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of filing and try and find some red O-rings just to go there. Just so it gets a little bit more grip, because otherwise it will be sliding a little bit. But I've got Holger in my live stream when I got the sort of Bricklink haul. He put some sort of frequently asked questions that he had about the engine, that he gets about the engine, and so I've copied and pasted his comment down below as well. So you'll have a link to his website, the frequently asked questions that he gets and stuff like that. And so, like I say, you can always check out his book, check out his website. It's a really amazing resource, really, for anyone who wants to get into the hobby or wants to just see more Lego trains, I suppose, more Lego engines and things like that. So go and check that out. So next up is the BR Class 08. Now this was and is my first MOC engine that I built. I built this a couple of years ago so I could take it to Philly Brickfest in Pennsylvania, and it was originally it ran with the battery and the IR receiver in this carriage behind it, and there was a cable going across, and it carried everything, and the motor was there and the lights were there, but it needed the battery pack. Now I've consolidated everything into this chassis now, so the IR receiver is here and a battery is here. It is not a Power Functions battery. I'm now using an Amazon Basics rechargeable 9-volt battery, and that's just connected to a Power Functions connector. The reason I'm make sure I say the Amazon Basics rechargeable battery is because A, it's rechargeable, which is good, so I don't have to go out and buy more. But this is a really slimline 9-volt battery, and it fits in a 2-stud wide gap, which is fantastic. This is, I suppose, slightly a hack. I'm not sure whether it's frowned upon to do something like this, but this fits in this specific chassis. And the reason that I needed it to is because the challenge that I wanted to stick to when I built this was it needed to be 6 wide, and therefore this is a 4 wide sort of body, sort of engine housing or whatever like that. So I've stuck to that, and I've made sure that, well, it powers itself now, so I don't have to pull a carriage in order to get it to move, and therefore it can pull from the back and it can pull from the front as well, so it can go both ways, which is how this shunter should work, really. So this shunter does have lights at the front. I think I might try and add them at the back. It is a really tight squeeze though in there for cables, but the actual engine itself is going to change over time as just I try different techniques and different ways of making this. People have asked me for instructions and send in instructions, and they really want to build this. I am working on trying to get some instructions together, but this isn't a complete model and I'm still learning as I'm going really. I think there's ways I can improve it. I haven't put any stickers back on yet. I'm not sure whether this is going to be the finished article. Like I say, it's a work in progress, so it's still going to change over time. I think I can improve it a bit as well and make it look a little bit more like the real thing. It's never going to be sort of like quite Holger Matthes realistic, but it's I'll keep working on it, and as I go over time, possibly there will be instructions available for it at some point. I'll release those. I'll try and work on it, but we're talking a few months away. Not a few weeks. So there you go. That's the Class 08 shunter as it is at the moment. It is a work in progress. I'm really happy with it now that it runs on its own though. So and these are, like I say, Big Ben bricks. He does custom wheels and everything for Lego trains, so you can always check out him for if you need wheels for trains. I think he does some with actual O-rings included now. I've added O-rings to this myself with a bit of filing, and but that means it gets extra grip and it can pull, and it's got plenty of traction when it's pulling things really. So yeah, that's a bit of an update on the Class 08 shunter. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed building Holger Matthes' little steam train. It's a really, really good engine. I really do encourage you just to go and check out his website and grab the instructions and stuff like that. Like I say, thanks for watching this video, and yeah, I will see you in the next one.